Hello friends, this is Worm, or at least that's what the DNA evidence says, and I want to precurse this video by saying there will be potential spoilers. I shouldn't say spoilers because everything that we're going to go over in this video is to be taken with a grain of salt, but we're going to be talking about spoilers today, and not for the fact that it's just spoilers to talk about spoilers. It's more so to entertain the idea of what a really healthy year in Destiny could potentially look like for us. Now, I was sent this by a sub over here on the channel, and basically it has a ton of information, and I say information about the upcoming Origins. I'm sorry, I was sent a Twitter post via a sub. Sorry, that's what I should say. But the Twitter post has a ton of information about next season, the following season, Lightfall, no, sorry, not Lightfall, Final Shape, stuff like that. And really, I've looked over this, you know, and obviously it sounds literally like too good to be true, right? But I wanted to make this video because I wanted to actually, instead of talking about spoilers, I wanted to entertain the idea of what a actual Destiny 2 like year ahead of us would look like that would be in a phenomenal state. Okay, because this, like, I'm in reading this stuff, and we're gonna go over it, a lot of you, myself included, are going to say, yeah, no, that's definitely fake, because it does sound fake. But let's get over the fakeness slash spoiler. I'm only saying this is spoiler because I don't know who posted this, but it got a lot of traction on Twitter, so you know, maybe we'll see. And a lot of it sounds believable, but a lot of it does not. So yeah, the thing that I did want to point out here, I'm about to pull it up on screen and we'll go over it. I did want to cut out the part about the whole seasonal story next season. I have not really read that, and I don't want to spoil anybody in terms of next season's story. Sorry. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So let me pull this up here. There we go. Okay. And as you see, we're on 26's pace bin. So again, this could be anybody that made all this stuff up. But whoever made this, again, if it's not true spoilers, and I do have to say it's a spoiler because it was revealed to be like spoilers, so to speak. But again, it could be anybody that made it. Let's just go over it, okay? First of all, next season, this is coming next season, allegedly. But next season, after all the story content, Crucible map in Vex network, which we kind of already knew, and Gambit is getting 4 new weapons. This is huge already. And again, even if this is all fake, a perfect Destiny, this would be fantastic, because Gambit's right out the gates gets no love whatsoever. It gets 1 new weapon a season, and that's it. That's all it gets. It gets no updates to the game mode. It gets very little updates to the loot table. Like, it is the redheaded stepchild of Bungie, and it's so sad because Gambit really isn't that bad of a game. This is a hot take, but Gambit is not that bad of a game mode. It's just that it's so neglected, that it is so repetitive and boring that players don't like it. But yeah, this is big. Again, if this is real, this is huge for Gambit to be getting 4 new weapons, and I think it talks a little bit more about some Gambit stuff going on, you know, a little bit further on here. Next ritual weapon is allegedly a kinetic SMG. I do have doubts on this. We just got a kinetic primary weapon this season. I don't see us getting another kinetic primary weapon. Maybe I don't even see us really getting another kinetic weapon, but who knows? Returning raid, of course. It's really debatable whether this was a good idea or not. But allegedly, Bungie is bringing in Crota's End. But the real like uniqueness of this, and the idea behind this, you know, again, us talking about this is not so much that, oh, they're bringing it back, but it says this. I'm going to read it verbatim here. First time Bungie has tried this, Crota's Inn will actually take place in present day and be involved in the story. Crota has been resurrected as a Lucent Hive and has reclaimed his brood, not adhering to any of the goals of Xivu, Wrath, or Savathûn. He kidnaps Savathûn's Death Singers, sorry, been playing too much Dead by Daylight, Death Singers, to try and regain his memories in order to enact revenge against those who killed him. This is a big deal because we've never got a raid that directly ties in with the story like it's alleging here. Okay, and again, this would be a wonderful way for them to bring back this raid. I know right out the gate, people hear Crota's End and they roll their eyes and like, oh my god, like seriously. Crota's End was a Destiny 1 raid. It really was not the best. In fact, in Destiny 1, it was the worst raid. Okay, it was the worst raid by a long shot. It was soloed. I think you could still hop in Destiny 1 and solo it to this day. So it's going to take a lot of work for them to revamp it. But let's look at the actual fact that like there's a small kind of like storyline we get behind this, and it's actually, this is a huge deal. Bungie has never, from what I remember, has never strongly tied in the story with a raid. Right now, yes, we have some extensions of story. You know, Vow of the Disciple is an extension to the Witch Queen story. Trying to think of another one off the top of my head here. The Taken King was an extension to the story, right? But this is, if what this is claiming is true, it's right. This is the first time that Bungie has done this. They're trying to take an old raid, bring it back as a present day story, and be involved in the story somehow. So I'm excited to see that. Of course, the returning weapons, the pulse rifle, I can't remember what it was called. Hand cannon, I can't remember what it was called. The shotgun, the sniper. This is interesting. The sniper, Black Hammer, right? Black Hammer was very notorious in Destiny 1 for its perk White Nail, which was a very good perk. LMG, rocket. I don't actually remember an LMG or a machine gun, I should say, from the Courtesan raid, but whatever. And then, of course, the exotic Necrochasm. Okay, this is where we also get a big separation. There's not going to be a master mode. Instead, a grandmaster with I can't remember what AOT stands for. AOT farmer dropping and completely farmable encounters with high rewards. Not much more is known about the raid. This is interesting because, again, the prospect that we don't get a master raid, instead we get like a grandmaster raid, is kind of a big deal. Now, Season 23, again, I'm going to skip over, kind of what it's about. But I did want to point out a couple things right here. Number one, this is a huge. Season is mainly to improve core activities health, but mostly strikes. This is something that we have needed for a long time in Destiny, is something to update the core playlists. Mind you, the core playlists are available in the free-to-play version of the game. That's why they haven't gotten a lot of love. That's why, in again, I know we keep referencing it all the time, but in Astrocross video where he talked about, pay to win stuff, Destiny being free to play and it's free to try, blah, blah. This is kind of where that leads us to. But if Bungie took a season to improve the health of our core game modes, we've said this before on the channel. I've believed it for years in Destiny. It would be a good thing. And if this leak is right, this would be a fantastic season to help out the core playlists, okay, and focus on them. And as we go in here, we'll kind of read through some of the stuff they're going to be changing, blah blah blah. But the next thing, Cosmodrome is overhauled and given a loot table. Very interesting. Day and night cycles fixed, and Rocky Art is added to patrol. Hopefully, again, it'd be nice to get a bigger version of the Cosmodrome. The new dungeon allegedly takes place in the King's Watch in the Cosmodrome, taking on Scorn Remnants in the House of Kings. Again, I don't know. I don't really. Okay, great. Sure, why not? Here we go though. Strike playlist rewards improved a lot. And this leaker goes on to say Bungie is highly cautious when adding strike-specific loot because of how it can weigh the player count of certain activities and also the quit rate, but have added 3 new strike-specific weapons and some returning ones, and plan to add more in the mid-season patch if numbers look stable. And they have a depth version. So the main takeaway from this, this whole prospect here, right, is they say Bungie has been cautious to not add strike-specific loot because of the basically the quit rate. And this is a very, very valid point. When bringing up the idea of strike-specific loot, how many players are going to be leaving, let's say, what's the most terrible strike in this game currently? I don't know. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Think of the worst strike. If they don't add any loot to it, people already leave some of these strikes because they're just not fun, right? In strike-specific, if they add strike-specific weapons, people are going to be leaving the strike playlist over and over again to get into strikes that they want to get loot and armor and weapons, blah, 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 strike specific loot from. So again, this is something that it does make sense. Like, this is something I could see Bungie actually saying. But yeah, they also have adept versions. This could also be potentially just some, nightfall reward, maybe something like that. But we'll have to see, if any of this is true. Because again, this is all to be taken with a the handful of salt, because I mean, you don't even know who posted this. Like, this is just a bunch of stuff. So that's why I'm not considering it necessarily as hard spoilers, more of like what a perfect Destiny would look like. But honestly, this is a phenomenal idea. The idea of bringing strike specific loot back would be an incentive for players to go in and do these strikes. You know, then you could have adept versions that drop from grandmaster versions of these strikes, right? So, you know, let's say, what's one off the top of my head? Sepix Prime, right? I can't remember the actual name of the strike, but the strike where you go in and kill Sepix Prime. They give you a cool new pulse rifle that is themed, you know, has a fallen theme to it that can get some really neat looking, you know, neat perks on it, stuff like that. You know, that would be fantastic. Then they have a Grandmaster come out. Not only can you get the Grandmaster for the week, but you can also, or the adept version of whatever weekly Nightfall weapon drop it is that's associated with that, but also when you're doing Grandmaster, you have the chance to get an adept weapon for this specific pulse rifle that comes with this strike. Sorry, not dungeon. That would be a great idea, and I think that would, again, bring life back to the strike playlist. But let's keep going here. Strikes will have secret activators in them to make final boss harder and drop even better rewards. This I could actually see happening because Bungie is testing the waters right now with deep dives. Deep dives have like a secret activator, so to speak, in which you can make the final boss harder, you know, increase your tiers for increased rewards, blah, blah, blah. So I could actually see this again happening, but this would be a great change as well because it would make grinding strikes more entertaining. Like I could see myself and many others finding a team to go into these strikes, you know, to go into Sepix Prime or, you know, whatever strike, I can't remember the names of strikes. It's terrible, but whatever strikes to do them and get increased rewards and have a more difficult time. The only reason why I almost don't believe this is kind of because it would make it like it's kind of defeats the purpose of a Nightfall, really. You know, Nightfalls have increased rewards, blah, 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 more modifiers, stuff like that. And I know that, you know, I guess you could say there's no modifiers in here, but I don't know. I think it would kind of make Nightfalls, some seasons, a little bit null. 2 Destiny 1 Mars strikes added, Nokris and Zol strikes reintroduced, a Garden World strike reintroduced, Cyclops 1. A Garden World, of course, being on Mercury. And then Nokris and Zol. I know one of the things I'm confused about here, it says 2 D1 strikes added, comma, Nokris and Zol strikes reintroduced. Does this mean, is the person who posted this, are they meaning that we're going to get 2 D1 strikes? Okay, there's 2. We're going to get Nokris, we're going to get Zol, Garden World, and then right down the next line down, 3 more strikes. We're going to get 8 strikes in total. I don't know. That would be, I mean, that's, I'm going to be honest, that's reaching. That is reaching really, really far. I don't see Bungie doing that. But again, it would be fantastic. I mean, Valis to Arc was always a really fun strike to do. I don't remember any other Mars strikes from Destiny 1 off the top of my head. The Scion one, the Mind Flayers. I can't remember what they're called. Scion Flayers, something like that. But again, this would help the strike playlist substantially, adding more strikes. Because one of the things that we talked about just recently in a video, I don't remember which one it was, but we talked about strikes are boring. Like, we're getting no new strikes. You know, we've gotten 1 new strike this year, and we were looking at potentially that's all we're getting. You know, between Witch Queen and Lightfall, we got 2 new strikes, and that was it. And strikes really they're fun. Okay, and I know that's a debatable statement, but I think that strikes are really fun. And so the potential of getting 8 strikes is a huge deal. I hope that we see it. It has the names of the new strikes right here. And then, of course, Garden of Salvation will have its weapons reprised. Again, allegedly not next season, but the season after next. Again, that's something very believable. Garden of Salvation needs its weapons reprised, blah, blah, blah. But let's keep going here. Crucible, and this is where I'm just like, you lost me here. I know this can't be real, right? Crucible gets 3 new maps. 1 on Earth, Europa, and Essence Pyramid Ship. We need new Crucible maps. Bungie has not really had any interest in doing any Crucible maps, so I don't see this coming true, blah, blah, blah. Blind Watch will also come back from Destiny 1. Blind Watch, it was a really fun map in Destiny 1. 5 new Crucible weapons. Comp weapon is a precision shotgun. So this is where I'm a little bit confused, because it says season What is it? 20, yeah, season 23, because we're in season 21 right now, right? Season of the Deep is season 21. Yeah. So season 23, it's interesting that all right, let me go back up here. It's interesting to say they give us season 23's comp weapon is a precision shotgun, but they don't offer season 22's comp weapon. So I don't know. Very weird. New comp emblem for going on a 10-game win streak. Don't care. New Ascendant exclusive shader. This is kind of a big deal. Of course, the Ascendant rank has only ever been associated with emblems, which the emblems look very, very cool. Not going to lie. But to get a shader would be very, very nice, especially to us players who grind out, the Crucible quite frequently. Of course, I could actually see this being a plausible thing. We're getting, just this season we got a Trials of Osiris shader for going flawless, so I don't see why they wouldn't do this. New Crucible armor set is similar to Shaq's armor. Finally, we need a new Crucible armor set. Oh my gosh, sorry. We need a new Crucible armor set. Same thing with Vanguard and Gambit. We need new armor sets for those. Less abilities game mode with a 1v1 arena with uniquely modified maps. Again, this is I don't know how true this is. This would be fantastic if it was in the game. Showing love to PvP in general is always great, but a game mode where there's less ability focus and more gunplay would probably play out weird at first in Destiny, but I think in the long run it would be a lot of fun. However, it almost makes me feel like momentum is kind of that same thing. Like momentum, you don't get ability energy unless you get kills. So if you throw a grenade, you have to get kills until you get your next grenades, right? So that sounds to me like this would be something like momentum control. But the 1v1 arena with uniquely modified maps, that is an interesting prospect. And I don't know if Bungie would do matchmaking for it, but it would be very interesting to see how that plays out. Okay, keep going. All patrols increase in difficulty and reprise weapon sets, including Nessus and EDZ. Hold on. All patrols increase in difficulty and reprise weapon sets, including Nessus and EDZ. Large events added to Nessus, Europa, and Cosmodrome. I think like the Neo Muno one, with their own loot. Update. Nothing crazy. Wave-based like the boss and Terminal Override. So this is basically just saying we're going to get, I guess, an updated armor sets weapon sets for EDZ and Nessus, which that's kind of cool, I guess. It's not the biggest thing here. And then we're going to get more large-scale events similar to Terminal Override on these other locations. This right here is where I am just completely at a loss, and I really don't think that anything from here on is actually a spoiler. It's probably just somebody making stuff up. But let's entertain the idea of adept patrol weapons that you get through completing master lost sectors. What else needs to be said? This would be such a phenomenal idea in Destiny 2. And again, it would bring up more reason to do lost sectors. I mean, think about it. If you are a player like me, you got all the exotics. What's the point of going in and doing a master or a legendary lost sector? There's not one, right? This would reintroduce lost sectors as being something that players actually want to do, because you can get new weapons, and everybody loves adept weapons. Okay, like let's just be honest here. Adept weapons are absolutely fantastic, and it's really unfortunate you can only get them from raids and Grandmaster Nightfalls. But I think that opening up, more weapons in terms of outside of just those two sources is a phenomenal thing. We also get a couple of new adept mods to include, and this again sounds wishful to me, but these would be fantastic to have in Destiny 2. In fact, I think from now on, we're just not even going to talk like this. We're just going to talk like these are all just quality of life changes that won't ever happen, but would be fantastic if they did, right? But a couple new adept mods for your adept weapons for PvE would be an increase in damage against miners and orange bars. So basically the opposite of the current one we have, which is, it's big one spec where it does more damage to bosses, mini bosses. For this one, it would be miners and orange bars. So miners and majors, right? But not champions. There is another mod that is essentially shoot to loot light. Shoots ammo a few times for it to proc. Works instantly on special and heavy weapons. And then a suite of mods applies small stacks of elemental status on enemies each shot. That would be a very cool mod to have. The only thing I have with this is how would it work with kinetic weapons? Like, I don't think that Bungie would ever introduce, some sort of perk to have elemental status effects with kinetic weapons. I mean, outside of, no, there's none. You could argue Firefly can be on kinetic weapons and can make a solar explosion, but no, I don't see this. I don't see this as being realistic. Gambit returning Dreaming City maps and a new asteroid map. Gambit getting more maps is always a huge deal, because Gambit, like we said, needs love. It needs a lot of love. The enemy density is increased, invasions reduced. That would be a fantastic change for Gambit. You can also send multiple lower level blockers at once, and then blockers are beefed up. 20 or more blocker is back. That was something way back in season 7, which was season of Gambit Prime. You could bank 20 motes and spawn it in basically like a strike boss blocker. It was kind of intense. We also, having a new Primeval, Colossus, Scion, Wizard, Hobgoblin, Wyvern, Brig, Cyclops, blah, 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 would be fantastic. It wouldn't fit the theme of Gambit, which is, the Primevals have taken enemies. So this right here, these 3 not being taken, I don't really know how that would work with Gambit's lore, but who knows. Primevals will have micro mechanics to them. That would be fantastic. It would be awesome to see if Primevals had micro mechanics added to them, which we kind of already have that through the Primeval Slayer buff and the envoys that you have to kill. But it'd be cool to get different modifiers. It would be very cool to get 2 sets of returning weapons added to the loot pool, because remember, this is 2 sets, right? Sets typically include, 6 weapons at least. So if it says 2 sets are returning, that would be, we could assume 6 + 6, 12 plus 5 new weapons would be a total of 17 weapons. Again, that would refresh Gambit phenomenally. Love it. Also, new exotics for Vanguard, Crucible, Gambit, and Patrol activities. 1 each. All RNG drops with triumphs, increasing the drop rate. I have no idea how this would work. This is like Dream World level stuff right here, right? Like, is it exotic weapons? Is it exotic armor? Is it exotic class items? Or shaders, or emblems? Like, we have no idea. I can't even begin to speculate what this would be. I would assume they probably wouldn't associate exotic weapons and armor with Vanguard, Crucible, Gambit, and Patrol, right? Like, that sounds far-fetched, but it would be a very nice factor to get in here. There's also a fun feature would be mods that progress crafted weapons when getting kills with abilities or other weapons. This will just help us tremendously when we're leveling up our red bars, because holy moly, who likes to sit there and grind red bars? I don't, that's for sure. Perk enhancement and focusing overhaul. Again, this would be great if they finally, changed this whole system. Focusing is it's kind of boring. It could use just a little bit of work somehow. I'm not really sure. Perk enhancement, I don't really know what this means here. I mean, we already have enhanced perks, but blah, blah. Crafting overhaul, turn any dropped weapon into an enhanced. So this is a big one right here. Imagine in Destiny, if you get a crafted weapon, let's say you're doing Last Wish, for example, right? And you've only done it once, and you get a God roll chattering bone that you've been looking for, right? Instead of having to have the crafted version, from what I'm understanding based on this, it would be a situation where you would get, say, rapid hit and kinetic tremors, if that's your God roll, right? Rapid hit, kinetic tremors, you would, without having the actual crafted version unlocked, you'd be able to enhance those perks somehow. I don't know how, but somehow, which would be absolutely phenomenal. There's also cosmetic changes, scopes, more mementos. Again, these would be great additions. Okay, mid-season cosmetic pack update with stasis and strand armor / ships. Also add a new 6-man activity in the 9 realm, and it will have more D1 armor and D1 weapons earnable in game. The thing that I don't believe about this, I don't think Bungie has ever done a mid-season drop of content on us. Or, I'm sorry, not ever, I should say. Bungie has not done a mid-season content drop on us in a long time. Like, yeah, we have like, oh, an exotic mission unlocked mid-season, but typically mid-season is reserved for patches, you know, tunings to weapons, armor, stuff like that. I don't know. It would be very cool to have a cosmetic pack released mid-season, but I don't see this happening mid-season. This would come at the start of a season. But Strand and Stasis armors, I'm waiting for them still. I really am. We got our light-based ones. We need our darkness-based ones now. Old D1 and D2 tracks added to Orbit music. Not that big of a deal. Vaults of Glass weapon reprise. That would be, I mean, we know it's going to happen at some point. Like, Bungie has been on a roll with reprising weapons and armors. Reprising weapons through raids. Of course, Last Wish being the most recent one. But Vault of Glass getting its roles reprised. Again, fantastic. Okay, we're going to hold off on the secret stuff here. Oh, here we go. An in-game LFG will debut with the mid-season updates. I'm assuming it's talking about raid LFG or something like that, or dungeon LFG. Then we get on to the final shape. And I don't want to read off any spoilers. Don't look at the screen if you don't want spoilers. Faction Return, Old Tower. There we go. Faction Return, Old Tower. Lots of new characters and things introduced. A lot of intentionally vague seeds planted, but also very nostalgic year of Destiny 1. Several old raids returning in this content drop, as well as strike and modified versions of campaigns. Most things separately instanced, not impact main game performance. Okay, beyond and other. So this is post final shape. The big things that I want to point out here are there's allegedly no expansion in 2025. Not a secret. It has been speculated for a long, long time that Final Shape will be the last banger for a while for Bungie, right? It's going to be the last content drop, and this kind of, alleged leak here confirms that and they say instead Bungie will be making some very major backend changes to servers, game engine, and tool sets. Changes have already been implemented since Beyond Light, and especially this year, Lightfall, and it's costed content development time, but major changes will be put in place in the next year or two. That'd be fantastic. What I'm thinking here, and I think it actually talks about it as we go down here, but some major overhauls to the servers, stuff like that, would be a really good thing, so we don't have constant crashes and so that we can support more content in the game. Some sort of streamlining how activities are built to decrease how they affect the rest of the game and allow for more frequent and different content. Newly upgraded Tiger, as in Tiger Engine, will not only be used for Marathon and future Destiny projects, but Bungie plans to let other developers use it as well. Don't care. New compression technology. Okay, we're going to skip over that. Okay, here we go. Again, I want to keep this Destiny related, right? Post the Final Shape will be a spiritual reboot for Destiny, changing the tone to something more akin to a space detective story with an emphasis on world building rather than big action blockbuster. They really miss the mystery of early Destiny. Want to get more experimental with just about everything. Post the Final Shape, has been called the Universal Expansion. This sounds so good to me because for those of y'all who did not play in Destiny 1, Destiny 1 had a mystery about it that was intoxicatingly good. Like, everything in Destiny had this mysterious feeling, right? What is it? Venus. Mysterious. The Ishtar Collective. What was it? Mysterious. All this stuff. And then as time went on, like, there's less and less mystery. And like it says here, it's been big action, right? It's just big action. It's taking it bite-sized samples at a time, season by season is what we get. Destiny 1 didn't have seasons. Like, we had, just a lot of mystery. And it would be fantastic to bring back that mystery because over time you can, in little tiny increments, answer questions that players have had. I don't know. I just bring back the mystery that really is nostalgic for me because Destiny 1, one of the reasons I fell in love with it because of the mystery. What was the Vaulted Glass? Nobody knows, oh, it's here, go do this. You need 6 people to do it. What is it, which obviously, anyways, it doesn't matter. Like, blah, blah, blah. Let's keep going. A decent bit of things from current Destiny universe may come forward. Let's see here. Plans for Fallen Houses to come back. That's a big deal because Fallen Houses disappeared in Destiny 2's launch, and they've just been all just kind of the Fallen. And then same thing with Cabal Legions. There's also new Hive Gods. That's kind of a big deal, I guess. The rest of this stuff here, I don't think there's much really to go off of. Just, again, some storyline hints, stuff like that. But the big things I wanted to point out here is the person that made this said, Marathon and Matter haven't affected Destiny's development much. More so, the hiring of new devs and training them is causing the slowdowns. Devs who work on it already left Destiny, or devs who, I assume what they meant is devs who worked on Destiny have already left Destiny many years ago. And some of the things they're doing for Marathon are inspiring new Destiny devs for the new saga. This, it's a possibility. It is a possibility that maybe it's not so much that Bungie is losing devs to go work on Marathon, but maybe it is the fact that, they're taking their senior staff to go work on Marathon, and they're having to hire new developers, which new developers, I'm not going to say are bad by any means, okay? But the time it's taken to training them and do that stuff is what's causing the slowdowns. I see that this is potentially a possibility, but I don't really know. But yeah, this, of course, we've talked mad smack on Marathon and the fact that it has, been taking away from Destiny. I still think it has. Quite frankly, I still think that it really has, but I don't know. We'll see. Bungie laid off several narrative team members after Lightfall right before the writer's strike. Lightfall was considered a massive success, but the story was one thing they were upset about. Don't really know what that means. New narrative leaves are scary. New narrative leaves are scared about continuity, scary about continuity. I don't know what that is supposed to mean. Let's see here. Other important stuff here. The only thing... Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Destiny 2 will never come to the Switch, Nintendo Switch. And then, of course, the Destiny remake was talked about, but they basically said we're going to just put all the Destiny 1 stuff into Destiny 2 if they wanted to go that. And yeah, that's basically all the important stuff here. I mean, the rest of this is just fun facts, I guess, about D1, D2, blah blah blah. But yeah, that's kind of our leaks, or that's the alleged spoilers that we've gotten. Again, this is all to be taken with a major grain of salt, right? None of this is real, or none of this is should be suspected to be real, but it does prove that somebody in the world has great ideas for Bungie, or I shouldn't say it proves it, but it shows that there are people, like there is the possibility to add a bunch of really cool stuff. Getting a season getting a season, which would, supposedly, be next season or the season after. I can't remember which one it was. But getting a season dedicated to our, 4 playlist activities, that would be a huge deal. That would be a fantastic deal for Bungie. Just working on general health of the game would be amazing. More Crucible maps listed here. There's been, some changes and stuff happening, fundamental changes, like, the whole idea of adept patrol weapons and stuff like that. And again, the adept patrol weapons, that's one of the reasons why I'm like, I don't know if I can believe it, because that sounds too good to be true. But again, it gives us an idea of this is a possibility. Like, if this is all fake and all made up, this shows that somebody is really dedicated to the idea of adding some very cool stuff into Destiny 2. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to share it. Again, we don't even know who made this. So is this, a dev that leaked this? Is this somebody who's living in their mom's basement that thought it'd be funny to troll a bunch of Destiny players? I don't know, but it brings forth a lot of good ideas that's, seeing in Destiny in the future would be amazing. But yeah, anyways, this video is running really long at this point. We're 33 or something minutes in. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts on the stuff that we've talked about here. Like, how much of this do you think is actually true? How much of this do you believe is something that we could likely see in the future? How much of it is obvious, complete, and utter horse doo-doo? And how much of it is something that, possibility? Speculation is reasonable to assume that, but I want to know your thoughts on all this stuff. Like I said, this is one of the biggest leaks I have seen personally for Destiny 2. Because like I said, it's not just going into next season. Like, it is going, next season, the season after, final shape, beyond final shape. Like, it goes into a lot of detail here. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Of course, it did take me a long time to make this video and go over this, so a like is much appreciated over here. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Oh, do me a favor, watch the video you see on the end screen now, because for whatever reason YouTube thinks you'll like it, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye for now, guys.